Earlier today, a very large rally started happening in Washington, D.C. And what did this rally want? They had signs everywhere, and pretty much they stated that they want the removal and the impeachment of President Donald Trump. The people in Washington are fed up with Trump and his administration, and they want him out. Just in case you don't remember, this is not the first time that they try to impeach Trump. Ever since he was president, his first term, he wanted to get impeached. Now, second term, they want to impeach him. A lot of people are saying, how did he even become president again? I guess social media was able to help him out. Thousands of people gathered at the National Mall. And at first, I thought it was going to be maybe 100 to 100 people. But no, it turned out to be thousands of people that showed up. There was also hundreds of military veterans that showed up to this protest because they're tired of Trump as well. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, even though the people want an impeachment, it's not going to happen because the Republicans are running everything right now. My voice got a little better, but I'm afraid that I'm going to lose it this weekend right now coming up because this is weekend 2 of my birthday celebration. We like to go all month long. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, Trump is not happy that there's protests in his own city. Home court advantage is gone.
I'm in Washington, D.C., where folks are marching in the Resist the Regime protests. People from all over the country, from lots of different backgrounds, came out here today. Now, what makes this protest different is that there's a very specific demand from the organizers. Impeach, convict, and remove President Donald Trump. The people I've spoken to today say they are sick of watching things happen on their phones and their TVs, and they're frustrated with how President Trump has handled immigration enforcement, the cost of living, health care, and more.
I think it's absolutely disgusting how they were ripping children away from their parents, sending people to countries they'd never even been to before. Most of these people are hardworking citizens. They pay taxes. They're my friends, they're my neighbors, and they are getting ripped away from their families. And it's just totally unacceptable.
One protest is not going to solve this. And I also think the midterm elections are not going to solve this, and lobbying politicians is not going to solve this. I think what we need is what we've seen around the world when millions of people come into the capital city, stay in the streets, and demand the fall of the illegitimate regime.
I'm here in Washington, D.C. It is November 21st, and we have a veterans rally popping off here at Columbus Circle in front of Union Station. We've got thousands of veterans here to call for the impeachment and removal of Donald Trump. Remember, just this week, Donald Trump called for the execution of American lawmakers who just reminded troops of their right to deny unlawful orders, deny orders that break the law or violate the Constitution. That's apparently a death penalty offense, according to Donald Trump. Well, we have members of our armed forces and former service members out here to say enough is enough. These folks swore an oath to the American Constitution, and they are here continuing to do their duty to the American people. Just a reminder, this is just one of the pre-rallies. There is going to be a larger rally on Saturday at noon at the Lincoln Memorial on November 22nd. If you are anywhere near DC and able to get out here, please come join us again. That's November 22nd, noon at the Lincoln Memorial.
Family, there is a massive rally right now in Washington, D.C. of Americans who have come from different states of America to try and rally up together against the leadership of Donald J. Trump. The rally itself is dubbed Remove the Regime. And family, they are calling out for the impeachment, convict, and remove from office for Donald Trump. And family, many Americans are just showing how dissatisfied they are under the regime of Donald J. Trump. They are calling out for his impeachment, and family, it's almost difficult for him to be impeached in such a time because Republicans are controlling the House, the Senate, and the White House itself. But family, they are not getting tired. They are hopeful that their voices would make a change. The power belongs to the people. Hundreds, if not thousands of Americans are out there right now. They are saying enough is enough. The leadership of Donald J. Trump has made life unbearable for many Americans. Talk about the cost of living. Talk about cuts in major sectors. And family, people are saying enough is enough. They cannot take it anymore. We've also seen military veterans, in the streets, hundreds of military veterans showing their dissatisfaction with this regime. Family, I want you to watch this video all the way to the end as many Americans call out the leadership of Donald Trump in a massive rally in Washington, D.C. Once the video is done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch this video together, family.
This is breaking news. A very large rally just broke out in Washington, D.C. called Remove the Regime and Impeach Mr. Donald Trump. Get him out. Thousands of people are protesting right now. This is happening at the National Mall. They are demanding Mr. Donald Trump be impeached and removed from office. And a bunch of veterans yesterday who were parading around are now in this protest. This is really big news because it just happened out of nowhere. And I think in 2026, when the midterms come around, and when all the blue wave comes into tsunami and everything else, I really do think that Mr. Donald Trump will be impeached and removed from office, especially now that all the Republicans are starting to see and come and join the Democrats, just like with this major Epstein vote and the files. All the Republicans joined except one. I think the occupants of the White House are going to get kicked out.
No president has divided Americans and families more than Donald Trump. He turned American against American, neighbor against neighbor, family against family. I don't even talk to my own fucking family. Now, I don't want to be here. I want to be home in my safe place in the world.
There will be articles of impeachment filed, and there will be articles of impeachment voted on in the Congress of the United States of America. We are not going to just file. We are going to have every member of Congress take a stand. This is a time for all of us to take a stand. You vote your conscience. My conscience tells me that I must vote to impeach a president who would put the lives of members of Congress at risk, a president who disrespects the Constitution, who doesn't believe in the separation of powers, who doesn't believe that people have a right to peacefully assemble and protest, a president who wants to be an authoritarian, who is devolving our democracy into a dictatorship. He must be impeached. He must be convicted. He must be removed.
We have some major news right now. A very large rally just broke out in Washington, D.C. titled Remove the Regime, calling for the impeachment and removal of Donald Trump. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people on the National Mall right now, as we speak, protesting and demanding the removal of Donald Trump from office, including hundreds of United States military veterans who came to Washington, D.C. yesterday. They marched, and today they're appearing as part of this rally. Now, right now, there aren't impeachment efforts on Capitol Hill. With Republicans controlling the House, the Senate, and the White House, any impeachment effort is really dead on arrival. But it has not stopped organizations like Flare USA from putting on this large rally. But these mobilizations continue to happen, and honestly, they don't make the president too happy, because he does not want to see protesters in his city where he is currently living, and that is what's happening right now. As always, spread the word. I'll have more updates about this and more, so follow along for all the news that you need to know about. Stay tuned. I'll have much more to come soon.
He's not just taking our country from us, he's taking our families from us.
Fascism is in fact already here. It's not coming. It has arrived.
I'm fighting for democracy. I'm fighting for liberty and justice for all.
I'm fighting for my children. I'm determined to leave them a better country than was given to me.
I'm fighting for everyone who believes that this country still belongs to the people and not to an authoritarian president.
United States of America threatens the lives of members of Congress.
It's abhorrent that a sitting president would make such an absolute threat against Congress people, veterans at that, who did nothing wrong besides remind other veterans, other active duty service members to remember their oath, and they should remember their oath. Only a tyrant would call that sedition, and the fact that it's already yesterday's news, number one, shows you the failure of legacy media, and number two, shows you how normal this has become.
January 20th of this year, I was re-traumatized when Donald Trump pardoned all 6 of my attackers and the thousands of violent insurrectionists.
What kind of message did that send to you?
That if you commit violence on behalf of Donald Trump and this administration, that he will absolve you of all criminal culpability.
The president has been impeached twice. Why do you feel this is different? Why is this movement different than before?
I don't know that it is different. Here's what I know. When we impeached him twice, it made a difference. I think that impeachment in and of itself makes a difference. After he was impeached, he did not go on to win an election.
Everybody is being adversely impacted, and Donald Trump is the root cause of all of that violence.
Link arms, join hands, embrace people of goodwill who have the best interests of the country at heart, who want to do what they can to make a difference in the lives of the American people.
Impeach! Convict! Remove! Impeach! Convict! Remove! Impeach! Convict! Remove! Impeach! Convict! Remove! We are the people. Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go!
So I'm here in D.C. and I caught a glimpse of the Democrats that Donald Trump wants to execute. No, I'm just kidding. But they're all gonna be here tomorrow for the Remove the Regime rally. There could be 100,000 people that show up for the November 22nd Remove the Regime protest. So it is so important to make that happen. Just drive, right now. Pack your bags and get ready to drive tomorrow for the protest, November 22nd.
Another weekend and another massive rally in Washington, D.C. against Trump. This is the Resist the Regime rally, and there are thousands in attendance. But listen to what Representative Al Green calls for at the rally.
My conscience tells me that I must vote to impeach a president.
The only way to do that is to win the midterms in 2026. Are you in?
We filled it up, and all these people were paid to be here. Were you paid to be here?
Absolutely not. I took 4 days off of work, and I paid $1,000 to come down here from New Hampshire.
You paid to be here?
I was not paid to be here. Not at all. Actually, lost hours on it, but I'm here.
Brad, were you paid to be here?
Thousands. No, not really. Millions.
Were you paid to be here?
Absolutely fucking not.
You paid to be here?
100% not. Here by choice, 100%.
Ladies, were you paid to be here?
No, I wish.
Still broke.
Ladies, were you paid to be here?
Hell no. Hell no. We want to get rid of the rapists in the White House.
Were you guys paid to be here?
No, sir.
Were you paid to be here?
Bro, I fucking paid to be here.
Were you paid to be here?
No, I was not.
Were you paid to be here?
Leaders of Antifa don't get paid.
A very large rally just broke out in Washington, D.C., calling for the impeachment and removal of Donald Trump. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people on the National Mall right now, as we speak, protesting and demanding the removal of Donald Trump from office, including hundreds of United States military veterans who came to Washington, D.C. yesterday. They marched, and today they're appearing as part of this rally. Right now, there aren't impeachment efforts on Capitol Hill, with Republicans controlling the House, the Senate,
Senate, and the White House, any impeachment effort is really dead on arrival. But it has not stopped organizations like Flare USA from putting on this large rally. But these mobilizations continue to happen, and honestly, they don't make the president too happy, because he does not want to see protesters in his city where he is currently living, and that is what's happening right now. People are not happy with Donald Trump's policies, how he treats other people, even call them piggy. With that Epstein file release is still pending, and people are using their rights to come up and spread awareness, as always.
We have some major news right now. A very large rally just broke out in Washington, D.C., titled "Remove the Regime," calling for the impeachment and removal of Donald Trump. There are hundreds of, not thousands of people on the National Mall right now as we speak, protesting and demanding the removal of Donald Trump from office, including hundreds of United States military veterans who came to Washington, D.C. yesterday. They marched, and today they're appearing at part of this rally. Now, right now, there aren't impeachment efforts on Capitol Hill. With Republicans controlling the House, the Senate, and the White House, any impeachment effort is really dead on arrival. But it has not stopped organizations like Flare USA from putting on this large rally. But these mobilizations continue to happen, and honestly, they don't make the president too happy, because he does not want to see protesters in his city where he is currently living. And that is what's happening right now. As always, spread the word. I'll have more updates about this and more, so follow along for all the news that you need to know about. Stay tuned. I'll have much more to come soon.
I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm a two-time North Carolina A&T Aggie Pride 2005, 2016. We got on the bus this morning with Indivisible Guilford County in Greensboro, North Carolina, about 4 o'clock a.m. We drove about 6 hours to get here. Around 11 o'clock, we came because we're tired of Donald Trump. We're tired of the lies. We're tired of, the deceit. We're tired of the propaganda. We're tired of the whole nonsense administration. As a lifelong Republican, I've never once in my life had to ever worry about my rights or freedoms being removed or denied. But it does not mean I don't care about the rights and freedoms of others. Personally, the Trump administration, Trump himself, the actions, words, behaviors, all of it is nowhere consistent with my values as a man, as a Christian man. Jesus said, welcome the immigrant, not deport the immigrant. He also said, love thy neighbor, not just your straight white Christian neighbors, so-called Christian neighbors. I have a problem with white Christian nationalism. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy in there. Jesus was not a white man. And I am sick and tired of the blurred lines between separation of church and state in our U.S. government going on with the MAGA movement. Instead of a democracy, we're moving more towards a theocracy, fascism, authoritarianism, and Donald Trump is a major risk to this country. And I have to use my voice as a straight white man to say, look, the North Carolina GOP better listen. Because if you're not going to represent everybody, then you're not going to get to represent anybody. All of your constituents are in need. And, I'm struggling with my own Congress rep, Virginia Fox, because she's not approachable. She doesn't listen. She only listens to her constituents if you got about 7 or 8 digits in your bank account. But really, the Christian hypocrisy following this guy is appalling to me, and it's my obligation as an American to use my First Amendment right to stand up and speak out, not for me, but for other people whose rights and freedoms are at risk. So that's what I got.
Friends, I need you to not ever doubt the power that we possess when we decide we want to do something and do it together. Watch. If you'll recall, less than a week ago, I begged you to tag this woman to get the word out. Look what you did.
This week, organizers are asking people to come to Washington, to come on Thursday to lobby Congress. They say they want Congress to impeach, convict, and remove Trump from office. They're expecting it to be a really large lobby day on Thursday in Washington. And then on Saturday, one big central protest in Washington at the Lincoln Memorial with that same demand to impeach him, convict him, and remove him from office. Do you know the band, the Dropkick Murphys, legendary Boston band? The Dropkick Murphys are not shipping up to Boston. They are going to be shipping down to D.C. to basically headline that protest at the Lincoln Memorial this Saturday at noon, which means...
You guys tagged Rachel Maddow thousands of times in my video, and I'm not saying that my video was the only one that got her attention, but it certainly had some effect because thousands of times. If you that video went super viral and you guys tagged her and so many others. I love the fuck out of you.
Family, if you are keen with the videos of the protests in Washington, D.C., you could as well pause the video and go back and check them well. You'll notice that the people who are the most dominant in these protests are white people. White people are fed up with Donald Trump. White people are furious because they voted for him in large numbers, more than any other demographic in America. They thought that Donald Trump would be a good leader. They actually thought that their privilege would continue to be enjoyed under the leadership of Donald J. Trump. But family, right now life is becoming unbearable for each and every American. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, why you voted for Donald Trump. Everyone is being affected right now with his poor leadership skills. I'd say he's made life unbearable for many Americans. I'd like to start with white farmers. White farmers voted for Donald Trump, in large numbers. The white farmers today are struggling to maintain their farms. They are selling their farm machineries to be able to just maintain and sustain themselves because life is becoming unbearable. First, Donald Trump made it difficult for them with their laborers. He ensured that he chased out them through the mass deportations. And family, most of the people who were working in these farms were the undocumented people. They were removed from these farms, and that would mean that the white farmers would be affected. Family, Donald Trump has made their lives very, very difficult by ensuring that there's a 100% tariff to China. Most of these white farmers were farming soybeans. Right now, China is taking soybeans from Argentina and other countries. This is all thanks to some of these policies that Donald Trump has put in place. Right now, their soybeans are rotting. That is just from the farming sector, how white people are affected in that sector. This is me trying to answer why there are large white populations in these protests in Washington, D.C. Family, white folks voted for him because they wanted a white leader in office. But right now, things are not working out for them. The cost of living is unbearable. Family, right now there are cuts in Medicare and Medicaid. That would mean that people would go deeper and deeper into their pockets to try, and ensure that their elders, their grandparents, go to nursing homes through them paying cash. This is a very, very expensive affair. And this is all thanks to the leadership of Donald Trump with a big, beautiful bill, which has made it so difficult for all Americans to coexist and be able to live peacefully, especially with the high cost of living. Family, another plea that most Americans actually do have is the fascism that is being seen under the leadership of Donald J. Trump. There's a lot of fascism in America today. We are seeing a president who's threatening the media and saying he won't allow the media to criticize him. We are seeing a president who's refusing for Americans to exercise their First Amendment, freedom of speech. He does not want Americans to express themselves. That's why he is warning the media. He wants the media to be state-owned. The media is an independent body, and a president should always be ready to take any criticism from the media and his citizens, because a president holds the most public office. If you hold a public office, people would want you to be accountable to that office. People would criticize you. And as a leader, the least that you can do is warn your people about whether or not to speak and call you out to books. Family, that is very, very wrong. The fascism that people are seeing under the leadership of Donald Trump has made them lose faith. That's why we are seeing the crazy numbers, and we do not know how the numbers will continue building up in the coming days, because everyone is tired. Look at right now the situation with the food stamps benefits for the month of November. This whole month, many Americans, millions, are going without food. We are seeing many Americans open up GoFundMe pages to ensure that they can eat. We are seeing Americans come up with programs to ensure that their neighbors do not lack food, because the president has restricted, the giving out of money for food stamps for the month of November, even after a federal judge gave out the leeway and said, enough is enough. These people should be given, their food stamps benefit for the month of November, because even before the government had shut down, the Congress had already passed emergency funding, which is more than $5 billion. But Donald Trump insisted and refused. He actually appealed that decision to ensure that Americans do not get food on their table. You wonder, how does he benefit as a president? And these are the questions that many Americans are asking. We saw many Americans drive from different states in America to ensure that they were in Washington, D.C. in the right timing to join other Americans, in the protests, because they are tired. Enough is enough. They are all struggling. We saw some of them took flights to ensure that they were in Washington, D.C. to attend these protests. Many Americans are struggling, and this is why we were seeing the number of people in that rally. Family, over 40 million people in America live below the poverty line in 2025, and this is not about laziness. The majority work full-time in jobs, but the cost of living is so high. The system has been built to make people drown. Eviction is normal, while many Americans now live in cars. Family, this is the sad situation in America today. Most Americans cannot be able even to afford rent. If rent in a one-bedroom apartment is going as high as $2,000 in a month, would you pay that rather than just staying in your car, and living right near your offices, so you do not need too much for fueling your car each and every month? Many Americans have now decided that they'd rather live in their cars because cost of living is unbearable, man. I just imagine how Donald Trump has made it so difficult for Americans. America is falling, family. Babylon is falling. We are seeing this fall coming. Donald Trump has been put there specifically to ensure that this happens. But family, this has always been a mistake of the majority people who voted for Donald Trump, even after being warned. They did not care in the time. They thought that what black people were telling them was not something they could listen or they could follow. Black folks for the longest time had warned, Latinas for Trump. They had warned white people, the MAGAs, who thought that Donald Trump being in office is everything. Every day you see MAGAs cry. We see them regret, voting for Donald Trump. We see everyone, complaining about the cost of living, the very same people who put Donald Trump in office. And you wonder, why do people not listen? Right now, they are calling out for the impeachment of Donald Trump. But family, this would be a very difficult affair, considering the House, the Senate, and the White House are all dominated by Republicans. It would be very difficult for Trump to be impeached. But the one thing I always tell people is that the power belongs to the people. We citizens are the ones who vote for leaders in the offices. They must report to us. We must put them to books. We must ensure that they are accountable, as leaders, because we are their bosses. We are the one who has employed them. We have given them public offices for them to be able to serve us as their citizens. So the power belongs to the people and has always belonged to the people. We've seen different countries come out in large numbers and ensure that their voices are heard. Look at Kenya in 2024. What did the Gen Zs do in Kenya? Their voices were heard against the government. The government was trying to push up the cost of living and everything was crazy. They were also against a bill that was to be passed by the government about it was a bill that was about to be passed by the government that would push, the cost of living even higher. But at the end of the day, the voices of the Gen Zs were heard. It took blood, it took sacrifice, it took a lot, but the voices were heard. And that explains that the power has always belonged to the people. Family, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about the future of America. Do you think that Donald Trump would be impeached even before his time is office? And do you think the protest will help, push that agenda? Family, as an American, are you pressed by this leadership? Do you feel that indeed Donald Trump has been doing you all bad? Family, like the video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users, and I'd be very, very grateful. Lastly, I'd really appreciate if you all took your time to subscribe to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and family, I'd really, really appreciate if you all would be a part of this amazing, amazing channel. Family, thank you so much, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.